Well, it's the 29th of February, it is a leap year, and the Betfred Super League returns tomorrow night on Friday for round number 3. And what a round number 2 we had. So there you go, a little recap of round number 2, and the champions, the World Club champions as well, return to the Betfred Super League this week. This is how the league table looks after 2 competitive rounds of Rugby League. The Saints in outstanding form, especially in that second half against the Huddersfield Giants last week. They lead Super League 64 points difference in terms of the for and against. Already for the Saints, outstanding. Then it's the Dragons, the Robins, the Warriors, the Wolves, and the Red Devils. They're the ones that are in those top 6 places. Very early days, of course. And at the bottom there, the London Broncos and Hull FC. They go head-to-head this week. So some big games. We're going to be looking at each of those in a few moments' time for round number 3. But before we do, a big meeting yesterday between the governing body and the coaches of the Betfred Super League. The coaches very disappointed with the excessive nature of some of the charges that have been brought to their players. They believe it outweighs the actual offence that has been committed. And they've also been left bemused at the start of the season. They were assured that with the increase in cards that the suspensions wouldn't be as severe. And of course, that hasn't transpired. If anything, they've been even worse. They've also been talking about player behaviour. If you remember in Super League Raw Weekly this week, we had that little clip from the latest in conversation with Mike McMeekin that'll be coming out next week, where he talked about players feigning injury, and certainly he wouldn't stand for it in his dressing room. So that was quite interesting as well. So yeah, lots there to get through in terms of that. The officials are now, I believe, so they've said, are going to go back and have a look at it, which I think this will rumble on again for maybe another couple of weeks until it settles down. The players as well, they're having a meeting with the governing body this week as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of those things when they happen. Right, Super League Raw news, a couple of things here now. And of course, we launched a free competition in Super League Raw Weekly. It's now live on our Facebook pages. It's quite simple. All you have to do is like the official Super League Raw page, not the fans forum, the official Super League Raw page on Facebook. You also need to get yourselves over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then just simply share it with your friends and family on Facebook, the Super League Raw page, and write done in the comments. And once you do that, you go into a free competition. That competition, £25 to spend in your club shop, courtesy of Super League Raw. Dead straightforward, couldn't be easier. So yeah, like the Super League Raw page, share that page with your family and friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, put done in the comments on Facebook, and you will be entered into our £25 gift voucher draw live on Super League Raw Weekly next week. Also, of course, we have got the Super League Raw Mini League on the official Super League Raw Fantasy League. There's the pin number 7434, the password 819007. You have till close of business tomorrow, the 1st of March, to enter your team. If you've already got a team on the official competition, join our league. You could be in with a chance of winning some superb prizes. If you're a non-member of Super League Raw, you're playing for a 2025 replica shirt of your team. If you are a member of Super League Raw, you are playing for a free season ticket up to the value of £300. Wow, what a prize that one is. And we expect to be announcing more prizes that are associated with the Mini League as the season goes on. So make sure that you join the Super League Raw Mini League, pin number 7434, password 819007. Right, the Glen Players of the Month nominees have come out. Jack Wellsby, Jordan Abdul, Ash Hanley, Tarek Sims, Matt Whitley and Mikey Lewis. They're the 6 nominees that you've got to choose from. In Super League Raw Weekly this week, we will be picking our team of the first 2 rounds and also the coach and player of the month from how we see it here at Super League Raw. But get yourselves to the official Rugby League app and, make sure that you cast your vote. Who has been your player of the month out of those 6? Will those 6 be in contention for the Super League Raw player of the month? I'm sure they will be. But get yourself over there and make sure that you have a go at that. Outstanding stuff indeed. Right, let's now start looking ahead to the week ahead, round number 3. And here are the fixtures. The Saints, they are going to be welcoming the Leigh Leopards to town. As for the Warrington Wolves, they go up against the Castleford Tigers. The Wigan Warriors will entertain the Huddersfield Giants. The Rhinos take on the Dragons on Saturday. The Red Devils, well, they welcome the Robins. And Hull FC, London Broncos, bring the curtain down on this week's fixtures. Right, let's start, shall we? That Wigan-Huddersfield game. Matt Pete has been talking to Sky Sports. We know that Lehman and Cooper are going to be out for a considerable amount of time. Hopefully, Mr. Cooper's injury is not too bad. But here's what Matt Pete had to say to Jenna Brooks post the World Club Championship.
Our World Club champions. You now have an entire season. You've only played 1 round this year. You've got a whole season to focus on. Are you at all concerned about kind of refocusing, recentering yourselves and getting the next job done?
Well, yeah, it's part of the challenge, but it's a challenge that you want to be involved in, and hopefully we're involved in it next year. And yeah, I think it's, if we, whatever fixture you have, whatever fixtures you're coming at every week, there's a different challenge ahead of you. So it's just a different style of obstacle, I guess. There's going to be trophies along the way that we win, hopefully, and ones that we don't. But I think if you constantly go back to what you learn from the experience, and I knew last weekend was going to be a great learning experience. I remember driving down to the game thinking, there was a chance we could have got beat. It was a chance we could have got well beat. But I knew I was going to learn a lot about my players, about myself, about the organisation. So when you look at it like that, there's no downside to the opportunity. And that's how we take it. We'll look at, this week now, going to the Huddersfield game, what did we learn from the Penrith game? And we'll learn a bit again this week. We'll learn whether we can back it up, that intensity.
Business as usual at the World Club Champions going into this game against the Huddersfield Giants. Huddersfield Giants have had a pretty decent start. They look a competitive team in 2024, don't they? Played, of course, really well in that opening fixture at Leigh. We're in the arm wrestle until half-time against St. Helens. Keep your eyes peeled on Huddersfield Giants TV, on YouTube. Ian Watson, I'm sure it won't be too long today until he comes out, his press conference with regards to this particular game. But yeah, it's going to be a belter there at the DW Stadium. And get yourself down to the game. Brilliant this from the Wigan Warriors. All game tickets, £5, even for away supporters. They want to try and get as many people in to the DW Stadium this Friday night for the game against the Huddersfield Giants. We wish them well with that. And hopefully, you Huddersfield Giants fans, you'll make that trip over the Pennines to the DW Stadium this Friday. £5 a ticket. Absolute bargain. Right, on to St. Helens against the Leigh Leopards. They're totally and utterly in the groove, aren't they? St. Helens very, very easy on the eye at the John Smith Stadium last week. I mean, the likes of Wellsby, Makinson, Clark, Whitley, Knowles. We could go on. Every single one of them at the moment in great, great form. Their defence only conceded 4 points to this point this season. No wonder Paul Wellens is very, very happy. He's been speaking to Saints TV, and also Adrian Lamb has been speaking to Leopards TV going into this one. So we're going to hear from both of those, and also a new recruit at the Leopards who's expected to make his debut at the game this weekend, and that, of course, is Brad Dwyer.
Whole club at the minute's got a real good buzz around it in the playing group, and like I say, what's going on with the rebrand and then how they did last year, it's a great place to be at the minute. So like I say, I'm not really overthinking that. I'm just trying to put my best foot forward and play some good rugby, and then everything else takes care of itself.
I think Brad will do a great job for us. It's important that we bring someone in to fill that position and do a good job, and I know what he's capable of bringing to us. Not only experience, but he's got a great running game, and he's a tough player.
Yeah, absolutely. I've watched obviously a couple of the pre-season trials and the round one game, and again, I think they're a team that pride themselves on the physicality, and it's certainly an area where we're going to have to match them on the weekend. What's probably important for us is that we continue to do that with the discipline that we've shown in recent weeks. That's been probably one of the most pleasing parts of our game, is that for a team that was largely ill-disciplined last year, we seem to have flipped that on its head. But every single week, we faced that challenge, and again, it's getting the balance right this week, because we're coming up against a team where we're going to have to play with intensity, we're going to have to play with the physicality. We're also getting the balance right in terms of our discipline.
I guess the great thing about rugby league is it comes around really quickly again, and if we're off this week, which I hope we're not, like we were in round one. That we can get really hurt here as a club going there against a team that's very confident. But I've got some players that have been in the system now with me for a while, and they understand the process. So let's hope that the performance can follow that.
We've had to curb our levels of aggression slightly, and that's because not only did we need to change there, but also the game's changed in terms of the tackle height, and obviously there's been a lot made of that in recent weeks. But we do need to adapt, and we do need to do things slightly differently, and the playing group have really took that on board. So we've had to kind of redefine a few things around standards and what is and isn't acceptable, but the playing group are working really hard in that area to make those adjustments. So far the signs are really good, but like I've said quite often, is that every single week you're faced with that challenge, so it's something that's never going to go away, or you've never nailed down. Every week you've got to go out there with a real discipline around making those tough decisions.
They've brought quite smartly in the off season as well, and I think they're they played in that World Club Challenge this time last year as well, and had to do a fair bit of travelling. So they've had their feet grounded this time throughout the Christmas period and the New Year, and it looks like they're connected as a group. So they're playing some really good rugby, and it's going to be a really difficult job for us to go there and play well and win.
Fantastic press conferences from both Adrian Lamb and Paul Wellens. Mutual respect, of course, from both coaches on show. Get yourselves over to Saints TV, Leopards TV, you fans of the Saints and the Leopards, to get those full press conferences. It should be an absolutely belting game. Of course, the Leigh Leopards are going to miss their 9 and 10, the two dream teamers from last season, well, the 8 and 9 in Tom Amone and from Edwin Ipape. In the same press conference, Adrian Lamb did confirm it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. It is an MCL injury for Edwin Ipape. Of course, Brad Dwyer coming in on an initial 2-week loan to plug that gap. And of course, Keenan Brand as well have been announced today that he's gone off to the Bradford Bulls for a couple of weeks to get a bit of game time. Quite a lot of loans going on at the moment in and around Super League. We'll keep you updated with those as and when they happen. Right, over to the Warrington Wolves against the Castleford Tigers. Not an awful lot of news coming out of both camps before this news update today. What we have heard is that Sam Burgess is likely to go with the same side that played against Hull FC last week in that game at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. As for the Castleford Tigers, bad news for them today. Jason Gary is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He's done an ankle. He's going to have an operation in the next 24 to 48 hours. But the good news for the Castleford Tigers is that Alex Mellor returns from his injury, and he is in the 21-man squad. Right, get yourselves ready for the game of the week. It could only have been one. That should be a brilliant contest this Saturday afternoon. Brilliant game last year, if you remember, on Channel 4, where Catalan Dragons got into the group, got into a really strong position, and then Leeds Rhinos came firing back. Hopefully it's a game of the same intensity and quality. Game of the week, our preview show, will be available to view on our social media platforms from 9 a.m. this Saturday morning in your build-up to the big game at Headingley. Right, now we go off to the other game that's going to be taking place on Saturday. The Salford Red Devils will, of course, be taking on Hull KR. Hull KR 2 from 2. Salford off and running last week against the Castleford Tigers at home. Jai Whitbread should be on the field of play. What an incredible start to the season Mr. Whitbread has had. He was in our team of the week last week, if you remember. 214 metres already this season, 9 tackle busts, 1 clean break and 73 tackles. Mr. Whitbread on both sides of the ball, absolutely incredible. He's been talking, as Willie Peters, prior to this big game.
We don't want to be a team who crumbles under pressure, and I guess they say defence wins games, and it's massive. So yeah, we want to be a team that prides ourselves on our defence, and then can score points off the back of that. What
we want to do is get more out of our 9. We want to get more out of Jez, who's been starting, and then we want to get more out of Minnie, who's doing a really great job at the moment in our structures and being that ball player in 13. And then we want to get more out of Petter at fullback, who's very, very smart and understands. You know, we'll have scenarios at training, and a lot of the time he's the voice behind all that. So we want others to complement what we've got with Mike and Tyrone, so they play a big role in it as well. Because as I said, like, we don't, when you do lose, an on the ball or a true organising half, then you need to look at your strengths. Our strengths is certainly what these guys bring that other teams will find difficult to plan against. It's like some other teams that have got those players as well. So you let them go, and what you need to try and do is free them up and find ways to free them up. And as I said, guys like Minnie and Jez and Petter will help do that. Yeah, I mean, the way that the brand that they play, it's exciting. Everyone loves watching them play. So, playing against them, as I said before, they're a difficult team to preview because they are off the cuff and they've got their structure, but they do throw the ball around. So we've always had good games. Last year we played here, was 12-0, we beat them. And pretty much, I think whoever won that was possibly going to be, in that 6. So as I said before, certainly, we've got our respect for them as a team, and don't buy into one bit how they talk themselves down.
Yeah. But I think this is a good game, though. I think Salford will want to kick on from their win last week. Hull KR on the road, they've got an opportunity to start the season 3 from 3. Willie Peters will fancy this one, there's no doubt about it, but I think this will be quite close. I think probably only 4 points in this, with KR just getting.
The people in this stadium are my people. I feel like I'm representing them, and having sat with them and stood with them for so many years, I know what it means to them to view and what a Salford player looks like, and hopefully I'm giving them a small taste of that, and I get a lot of messages saying they're living their lives
through Ryan, and those final images taken from the Sportsman, the last tackle that came out yesterday. Make sure you catch up on that. Chris Radlinski and Kyle Amor in the studio for that one. And that final clip of Ryan Briley, that's from a special 15-minute mini doc that they've done over on the Sportsman about Ryan's career. Quite emotional at times. Great player is Ryan Briley, but I'll tell you what, he comes over as a champion fella as well. Well worth a watch. If you Salford Red Devil fans haven't seen that, make sure you get yourselves over to the Sportsman to watch it in full. And I'll be honest with you, as a Super League fan, it is really, really good 15 minutes of your time. So make sure you pick up that on the Sportsman. The good news as well for Salford Red Devil fans coming into this game is that David Nofa-Luma, I'll get there eventually, he is in the squad. So expect him to be on the wing this week as Hull KR come to town. Should be a belting game. I really enjoyed the one against Castleford Tigers this week, and I think this one could be a little diamond in the rough this weekend, if you don't mind me saying. Right, the final game will, of course, be the Hull FC taking on London Broncos at the MKM Stadium. This, you feel, is a really, really big game for both teams. London might just fancy this one. And as for Hull FC, well, Tony Smith's men need a win. If they didn't get a win in this one, it could become quite toxic at the MKM Stadium. Now, an exclusive for you. As you know, the In Conversation series just keeps getting bigger and better. Mike McMeekin has been our latest guest, and this is what he had to say about London Broncos and why Hull FC should not take this one for granted.
There's a few of them that really caused a few troubles. You got the likes of Hakeem Maludi, who's you know, he's always somewhere, isn't he? He's always trying to force an offload. And then you've got Robbie Story, who plays centre for them. I know from Cass, and they got some players who can cause a lot of threats. Really, I think it took a pretty professional performance from us to make sure that we got the win. Really, because if people can take them for granted when you go down there, you're thinking, "Oh, they've just come up from Championship. We'll definitely win this game." But you know, they're a team that if you don't want to be at your 100%, they'll shock you and they'll come after you. So we had to make sure we were on, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And if nothing else, after 2 rounds, they've probably scored one of the best tries in the first 2 rounds. The story won at Saints.
Yeah,
good try, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just sums up their attitude, and you know, they're willing to go the full 80 regardless of the score. They'll keep coming at you, and like you said, they scored that try, and then against us, they finished the game in an attacking position.
Yeah,
you could argue most teams would probably be like, "Oh, let's just throw in the towel. Let's just chuck in some players who haven't had much game time, and let's get them out there." But you know, they kept coming at us, and good on them, really.
Absolutely. And, you know, Mike Eccles deserves loads of praise. One, for how he galvanised their season last season. Yeah. But I did a news update yesterday, and obviously the 2 coaches, Steve McNamara and Mike Eccles, spoke after the game. And you know what? I see a lot of similarities in the way those 2 talk. Very composed, very calm, very, you know, really well thought out the way they handle the press. I think Mike Eccles is one to watch this year in terms of his development as well.
Yeah. Well, he was head S&C when I was down at London, so to see him come from there, and I've always got along with Eccles. I've always respected his work that he did in the gym, and you know, the way that he can get people fit and strong for the season. You know, I've always liked him, and he gets people, and it must be, I don't know exactly, but he must be getting people wanting to play for him. And that's probably, as you can see in his press conferences, is that the way that he speaks to people is with respect, and wants people to play for him. And they've also got some good coaches as well with Ryan Sheridan. I think he'll be very good for them as well.
So a glowing tribute there from Mike McMeekin for London Broncos. He expects them to surprise a few this year. They will pick up some scalps, he believes. Catch that full interview next week on our social media channels. And if you're a Super League Raw member, you have already been sent the link as per the benefits of being a Super League Raw member. You can watch that today at your leisure. There's never been a better time, has there, to be a part of Super League Raw, that free competition. A reminder on that, get yourself over to the Facebook page. Make sure that you follow the official Super League Raw Facebook page. Make sure that you share that. Make sure also that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Write done in the comments, and you could be the winner of those £25 gift vouchers for your club store when we do the draw on Super League Raw Weekly next week. And of course, final call for the mini league, the Super League Raw mini league. Join it today. The non-members prize, that replica jersey next year. And if you become a member, no better time to become a member. Go and check out the benefits on our Patreon page on Patreon's website. No better time. You could be winning a season ticket in 2025. There it is again, the pin 7434, password 819007. Make sure you get yourself over to that. As always, I'm pumped up. The round 3 fixtures, order some absolute belters. What a game we've got at the Totally Wicked Stadium. Can the Giants upset the World Club Championship? Are we going to have more drama at the HJ this week? Salford against KR should be an absolute belter. Jeopardy at stake. Hull FC, of course, as they go up against go up against the London Broncos. And, of course, that game of the week, the Leeds Rhinos against the Catalan Dragons, the informed Catalan Dragons at the Headingley Stadium. I, for one, can't wait to watch each and every one of those games. And don't forget, it's Las Vegas Saturday morning if you want to get up early and watch a bit of NRL action. Super League, Rugby League, it's never been bigger, it's never been better. We're playing our part at Super League Raw. Thanks you to every single one of you who follow us, who like us, who comment, who listen to the podcast. We couldn't do it without you. We really enjoyed doing it for you. We will be back with another news update on Monday. But that's it for today. Enjoy your Rugby League over the weekend. And don't forget, in the sheds, well, that'll be uploaded from Saturday. Bye for now.